Hi.
Hi.
I'm Nick.
I'm Jill.
And we're
HipStrings.
Welcome to day 8
Day 8.
Base 12. You can't do that. You don't have 12 fingers.
What do you know?
I mean, if you count some toes, too. But yeah, so thanks for joining us. I'm going to roll my die like usual. But now rolling the dice takes quite a long time because there's only, what, five more options left.
Yes.
And you're going to talk about your 5. Why don't you show it and
I'm
take some
going
extra
to.
time?
Okay. So today's day 8 fiber is one of HipStrings signature blends. This is one that's pretty new to the shop. It's Canopy. It's part of the Flora and Fauna collection. It is 50% merino wool, 25% Shetland wool, 12.5% Tussa silk, and 12.5% mulberry silk. And it is a lovely, scummy olive green with a little bit of blue green in it.
And I am doing day 6.
Do you want to remind people what day 6 was?
I would love for you to read it out.
It's Poseidon. It's part of the mythology collection.
Which is not actually a collection.
It is a collection.
Oh, that was actually a collection?
It is. I just don't market it very well.
Well, so it's not actually.
It is.
It's a secret collection.
Yeah, I may have whispered that it was a collection once. It is 50% merino, 25% Shetland, 12.5% Tussa silk, and 12.5% sari silk.
So I was getting really concerned that I was grabbing this and keep on spinning these things the wrong way. Every time I go and I try and grab it, I'm always grabbing it and starting to spin it right away in the way that I grab it. And then I realized there's probably a good reason for that, because a lot of these I may have actually done the twist and put it in there in the direction that it was intended. So maybe I do know what I'm doing a little bit. Okay. And we already have some comments. Amy says, I only had to roll once tonight, which, yeah, at this point is getting very lucky. I had to roll 5 times. And I got 2 11s and 2 1s, and I've already done those.
There's well, I guess there is 11 in base 12, but we're not counting that high.
No, we convert it.
Yes.
That's B.
Yes.
Yeah.
You rolled several Bs.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I said it incorrectly.
Yes.
We need to get a new set of dice that actually have the B's on there so it's not confusing. Kathleen says, I've spun ahead, and Canopy and Poseidon are my 2 favorites.
They're good.
Oh. So we're doing Kathleen's favorite day. The 2 of us.
And I'm trying to spin thicker.
And Diane also, and I'm trying to spin thinner. Diane also only had to roll once, so it seems like I'm the odd one out. So
yeah. Hi.
Hi. I was going to call attention to our new companion behind us, BD1. You can see has caused the creepy Furby to shift over a little bit. BD1 is a Lego creation that I just finished after quite a few times of building Lego with our friends.
So because this should be a thing for more people than just us, we regularly get together with a group of friends and build Lego and drink beer and cocktails.
Yeah, and it we call it Lego and whiskey, although you don't have to drink whiskey, right? It's Lego and cocktails, but it originated because well, those are 2 things we like a lot, and it just so happened in Pittsburgh, there's a mall that has the Lego store for Pittsburgh, Ross Park Mall, and literally 3 shops away is the distributor for a whiskey distillery that is local to Pittsburgh. And so one day pre-pandemic, we decided, hey, we should get some friends together, go to the Lego store, buy a small kit, take it over to the whiskey shop, and build said kit while tasting whiskey and drinking cocktails. And it was quite fun. And so we continued it. We've been there was a bit of a hiccup during the pandemic, but we've been doing it basically on a monthly basis for 2 years now.
Well, you did it for
3
about
years?
a year, and then pandemic,
Yeah.
and it went on hiatus, and then we've been doing it again since people got vaccinated.
Yeah. But yeah, so BD1 now has joined us, and this is like a weird combination of our hobbies of Star Wars and Lego and spinning.
Yeah.
No Flies notes that they also have the Lego bonsai, but no whiskey. Needs to remedy that. The Lego bonsai is super cool too because it has 2 different configurations: a fall configuration and a summer configuration, or a spring and summer.
I really enjoy the pink frogs.
But you'll note that actually online people have created fall configurations where they'll
Yes.
take the orange and brown versions of the
Yeah.
leaves. Amy says not super up for Bob Nutting whiskey.
Yeah.
So disappointed he's Wiggles' new investor.
Yeah. Neither are we. And that's why part of why we hosted, besides not wanting to be at a mall right now, at home tonight.
Malls during the holiday season are a thing to be braved, not a thing to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we did speak to one of the employees, and we asked them, like, has anything significantly changed, and they said no, not so much. So at least for the time being, everything is okay. For those of you that don't know, Bob Nutting is the owner of the Pirates.
Yeah.
And so if the quality of the whiskey goes to the quality of the Pirates baseball season,
We will be very disappointed.
and that's about the extent I know about baseball. I used to have an employee who was a whiz at sports trivia. So much so that I was telling somebody in front of him, like, hey, Kevin knows so much about sports. He could tell you, I don't know, the color of the socks of the team that won the 1989 World Series. And Kevin, without missing a beat, was like, well, that would have been so-and-so, and because that was their away team's uniform, and so that would have been white with red stripes, 2 red stripes. I'm like, Kevin, you're not supposed to actually know that. So, yeah. That is the extreme opposite of my knowledge
Yeah.
of sports ball, as we have discussed before. And Cornwall Crafter says, good morning to both of us. Good morning to you as well. And good evening and good day to everyone in between.
Look at me.
You are still spinning thin.
It is not.
It is not as thin, but it is not as...
Give me a control card.
You need to be on that meter. You're starting halfway through. No way.
I am spinning at 28.
Okay, your definition of 28 is different from my reading.
Yes.
No, actually, it's not that bad.
I'm spinning on point.
Okay, let's see how am I doing.
Ha.
I'm doing pretty on point too, actually. Today's a good day.
Amy knows too.
Um,
But Amy's a sports journalist, so
well, but she didn't answer the color of their socks. Just who won.
I'm
So, you sports ball people, I'm impressed. Now, if you asked me what was the color scheme of Rick Hunter's Valkyrie during the training montage, I could,
Yeah.
it was brown and orange, but, nobody is going to get that one. I have a different sense of nerddom.
it's all wonderful.
It is all wonderful. Speaking of which, isn't everybody here to talk about fiber and
Yeah.
not Lego or sports or Robotech or Macros, as it were?
You don't have a hand knit on today.
I don't.
I have a hand knit. People can't really see it. I'm wearing a hand knit
They can
skirt.
see it. It's a little bit behind your wheel, but
Yeah.
why don't you talk about your skirt?
It was supposed to be leggings.
Was it really?
Yeah. I
You
got
just made one really big leg?
No. I got a advent calendar of sock yarn from a friend, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna make some big marled project out of it. I was like, you know what's crazy? Knitted pants. And
That is
Stephen
pretty
West
crazy.
has a pattern for Marled Mania leggings. I'm like, okay. And they're top down.
You do love a Stephen West pattern.
Yeah, especially for stash busting. And craziness. And so I was like, okay. Look over the pattern. Okay, it has short row shaping, all this stuff. I'm like, this is all important stuff for making pants that fit. And it's top down, and I do the waistband, I do all the shaping and all the stuff. And then it gets to the point where you separate for legs and put in a gusset. And then I have this moment of just like, I don't really like knitting smaller circumference tubes. Especially ones that are going to be that long. So if I just continue increasing at a regular rate, it's basically an A-line skirt.
True.
So I increased at a regular rate and turned it into an A-line skirt.
Now, this is your second knit skirt. Was that also the plan for that one?
So this was the first one I did.
Oh, okay.
And then I liked this skirt so much. I was like, oh, well, I want to do it again.
Let's do it again.
With a different rate of, like, doing the increases a little bit differently.
Okay.
And making it a little bit more flared. So then I had the second one.
Nice.
And now I'm debating whether or not to actually make the leggings, which, knowing me, I'm going to get to the point where you divide for the legs and be like, no, I really don't want to do that, and I'll make myself another skirt.
Okay, I love knitting on DPNs. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to get to the point where you divide for the leggings.
And then I'm going to move the project over to you.
And then you hand it to me.
Okay. And you'll knit my tubes?
That sounds wrong somehow. I mean, I'm not going to tie your tubes. I'm not that kind of doctor. But yes, I will knit your tubes.
Okay. I was going to cast that on after Christmas.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a plan. I like it.
It'll eat all up sock yarn because it's sock yarn held double.
Yeah.
And it'll be very toasty leggings.
I was wearing a sweater earlier, but we had some friends over and for said Lego activity, and I got warm because people are heat generators.
I also turned up the heat in the house because we were going to have people over.
Smart.
Yeah. Economy is one thing, but I am also a good host.
We got a request from Amy. Do we get to see the dragon bracers tonight? Yes, you do. I'm going to wait until after
you beat me?
After I beat Jill. Again, that sounds wrong. After I finish spinning before Jill. And
I was going to bring something up, but it would not be a good sound.
And even if I don't, I'll just do it at the end. And we did find them, and I grabbed them, and they actually weren't where I thought they were. So it's good that I checked last night.
They were in a bin of random things.
Random things that came from upstairs.
Yes, that needed to go downstairs.
I was so confident that I knew exactly where they were. And then I'd completely forgotten that we renovated that section of the house. So I knew where they were before, and then didn't. So, and Cornwall Crafter says rugby is the only proper sport, in quotes. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. And I don't know if that is a good joke because there might be 10-foot poles in rugby. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there aren't 10-foot poles in rugby. I think that's called high jump.
There's no balls in high jump.
We talked about sport, not sports ball.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Not all sports require balls. Some of them require eggs.
And pucks.
I watched like a short thing on the internet about the stones for curling and how they're made.
Yeah.
They're super expensive.
Yeah.
The ones for the Olympics, Olympic qualified curling stones. They're made from a specific granite on one particular island off like the coast of Britain. And that is the only place where you can quarry the stones for curling, for
Really?
Olympic qualified curling stones.
Fascinating.
And they actually laminate 2 different types of granite together. And it's a thing, like, it has to meet specific requirements because otherwise there's the potential of the stones just, like, exploding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if they get, because they're repeatedly hit against each other,
Yeah.
they can develop
Stress
fractures and explode. And so they use this particular granite because it's resistant, like, what is it? Granite has schist, the mica and the granite, like the particular pattern of the schist helps distribute the energy from the impacts.
Well, that just goes to show you can't take your rock selection for granted. I'm not even done. It's not even dad joke time. Sorry, you said granite, and I knew there was
You needed to pun?
I needed to pun. It was, you volleyed me so well there.
Eve, I am so proud of myself for actually being able to differentiate between Britain and England, and that I am educated enough to know the difference.
Also, the whole 10-foot pole thing, Eve does correctly notify that you could count the goalposts. I don't know if they're 10 foot or not, but
I didn't know that there were goalposts in rugby. I thought there was just like an end zone type thing. I don't know.
I don't know. This isn't a sports podcast. Anyway, Amy says, at Cal, the rugby field and softball fields are feet apart. One day in the middle of the softball national anthem, plop, a rugby ball drops in the middle of the softball field. Did somebody hit it with a bat? Like...
No, you don't hit. There are no bats in rugby.
Yeah, but there are in softball.
Yeah.
Okay, what were we talking about? We were talking about curling. No, that was a sport. Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about sports, and then we were talking about geography.
Is there anything about the shop that you would like to update at the moment?
If you want fiber, buy fiber now before I shut down the shops.
And I feel like this should be a daily announcement of when does the shops shut down. Because me with my goldfish brain, I already forgot.
I think I said I was going to close down from the 20th to the 31st, but honestly, I'm probably going to, because I've got some things I need to finish up. So I'll give you till Wednesday, like morning at 8 a.m. because then I'll go to the
Eastern time.
Eastern time, because then I'll go and grab all the last stuff, and that will be my last pull. And before I do that, I will shut down the shops.
Okay. Good. There you go.
Because Wednesday, other people will not be in the house, and I can still get things done.
Yeah. By the way, Cornwall Crafter says geography or geology? Yeah, a little bit of both.
They're pseudo-related.
All right. What else we got going on?
The Black Forest Ghetto finally arrived.
Oh, yeah.
The confetti cake, but I didn't open the box yet.
Is it downstairs?
It's upstairs.
Okay. Well, that's another thing I can do if I
Well,
finish before you.
I don't think you're going to finish before me.
Oh my God. Are you really almost done?
Because I'm actually spinning at the right wraps per inch.
Man, I shouldn't have told you to do that.
See, when we level the playing field, I win.
Yep. You do. I think I'm going to take Dave's perspective on special intelligence.
On what? Spatial?
Spousal.
Spousal intelligence?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Because clearly I'm smarter than you. Because look at who I married and look at who you married.
Look at who I married. I think we both won.
I agree.
Eve has a spinning question. I have spinning answers, maybe.
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 I mean, even if it's not right, you'll say something.
I don't presume to know everything there is to know about spinning.
But you know quite a bit.
Yes.
All right, ask your question, Eve.
I have pseudo-informed opinions on a lot of things.
Also, Amy says solstice, by the way. Is
That's the
today the
20th.
solstice?
The 20th is usually 20th, 21st solstice.
Okay.
I think technically Wednesday is the solstice. Yeah, the 21st.
All right. So that's when. So she's saying that you're gonna. The solstice is what's
When I'm
defining
closing
when you're
things.
closing the
Yeah.
shop. You have to
I was
make this look
asking
theirs.
Chris, since we had snow, if we had this was a nice start to winter, and he had to correct me and tell me that it's not winter yet
Because we haven't hit the
because
solstice.
we haven't had the solstice.
Nice. Nothing like being corrected by your 7-year-old.
Oh, can I please talk about spinning across the top?
What does that mean?
It's what I do. So like, here's my top, and obviously my drafting triangle is not using all of the fibers across the width of my top.
Okay.
And so if you're spinning across your top, you are kind of I kind of make sure that I'm kind of pulling on my drafting triangle. So
you're going back and forth across
I'm going
the
back
top
and
rather
forth
than
across
just
the
going-
top instead of just pulling and like.
So what ended up happening with me, where I am like, my drafting
Yeah.
triangle is going along the length, and I'm just like, this stuff I'll get to it later. That's not spinning across the top.
That is not spinning across the top.
Okay.
So what I'm doing, where this is all the same like length, is spinning across the top.
I mean, I try to spin across the top usually, but sometimes I get into a route like this, and then the way I solve it, I don't know if it's correct, but if I get too far off like this, well, I'll just split it off, and I'll spin that part later.
Yeah, but that will give you different color management.
Absolutely.
Than spinning across the top.
I am also rolling a die when I'm going through this, so I am completely chaotic, and I'm cool with that.
Okay. So this makes a lot more sense if I talk about how I spin first. So there are people who spin like how Nick's spinning, and most people, you just pinch, and like for a short forward draw, you pinch with just 2 fingers from one hand, and that moves towards the orifice. I use an extra finger in that hand. So I pinch with my pointer finger and my thumb, and then my ring finger.
Raise your hands a little bit because they're a bit behind the wheel.
So this is pinching. This is controlling how the twist moves from this single to the fiber. My ring finger is then being used to tension my drafting triangle before like twist comes in. And so that gives me a lot more control about my drafting. Apparently Margaret Stove talks about this in her books on like spinning fine lace and spinning merino. But when I'm spinning across the top, when I'm drafting, I draft a little bit more from the side of the drafting triangle that I want to move towards. Mm-hmm. And so that means I am grabbing some other fibers from there, from like the direction I want to move. And then like to go the other direction, you can either like flip your top over instead of like changing what
How you
angle
pull.
you're pulling. And that's spinning across the top. And so that is how I normally spin. I usually do not like strip my top into vertical pieces.
I will say normally I spin across the top. Just now I decided not to for whatever reason. But normally maybe I'll do like a split in half, because spinning across the top for a full quantity is
yeah, but
can
it's
be a
kind
bit
of
much.
like, I don't also have my comb top, like I'm not sitting right in front of my orifice. I have things over the side. I can kind of just generally change the angle of things and move my drafting triangle into the fiber that I want to start spinning.
Well, I learned a new terminology today. Also, Amy clarified that the 21st is
That is Wednesday.
Wednesday when the shop closes, and also her dad's birthday. We'll tell your dad happy birthday. And also meteorological winter started a few weeks ago. So Chris is wrong, and we can go try and make the 7-year-old cry about being wrong. No. Oh God, my twist is not enough.
So I hope that was clearer than mud. It is something that's much easier to show than describe in words.
So Eve, did you get the a satisfactory answer about spinning across the top?
But if you can't, try adding in your ring finger as to like, because you can just push on that proto single that doesn't quite have enough twist in it. And if you push on it, then that's going to draft more fiber. And also when you have the fiber going around a corner, the twist doesn't like to travel around corners. So you can slow down how quickly twist is getting into your fiber. It allows you to have a lot more control about your drafting.
When I do around the corner, I do it overhand like this. So I've got my supply off to the side, and I'm using my middle finger to sort of adjust how much twist is going in, can pass through, I guess. Which I guess is another way to do something very similar to what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know anything about chasing your thumb.
Okay.
I'm guessing that...
Sorry,
so Eve
says,
I'm spinning a gradient. Usually I split the top. Someone else said something about chasing your thumb. I'm guessing that is somebody who holds their hands differently than how I do.
What does chasing your thumb mean?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if I spin like... Because if I spin with just two fingers, I would take like... My pointer goes closer to the fiber than my thumb, and I can kind of point that pointer finger in the direction that I want the fiber to go, and that kind of works. I don't know. There's lots of different ways to spin.
And that term of chasing your thumb seems to be very specific about...
a certain hand position. Now I gotta stop doing that because I'm gonna mess up my wrist. I'm spinning way thinner.
And Cornwall Crafter / Eve says, Nick, I do that on my symphony, but the other way up on my rose. Interesting.
And that is probably because the symphony is a Saxony.
I was going to say, is that because of where the orifice is?
Yeah.
In relation to the rest of your body? I've only ever spun on castle wheels. Or spindles. Was there a comment? The thumb in your fiber, she was moving her thumb from side to side.
I can't imagine my thumb being in my fiber supply.
Which thumb? The holding hand or the guiding hand?
Maybe?
Is it a
I barely hold on to my fiber. Like that whole like hold on to your fiber like it's a baby bird. My thumb for my fiber supply is not doing anything. Yes, this is a hand position thing that is not, does not...
It's weird the freezing the thumb in the fiber.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody spins that way.
Is this like a woolen thing?
No, woolen...
A long draw type?
You don't have your thumb, like... Yeah, I don't know.
Ooh.
Not how I do it.
Well, we're going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
Learning new techniques is always interesting to be able to combine things that work well or don't work well.
Yeah, it's a hard thing for me to really describe because it's something that I just naturally picked up and I never had to think about it. So it's one of those things that you're just like...
What, the way you spin, you're saying?
Yeah, or spinning across the tip because I've always spun across the tip. It's like when you become a parent and you're like teaching your kid how to ride a bike. You're like, oh, okay, I think I know how to describe how you ride a bike and how to communicate this to somebody else. And then you actually spend time trying to teach somebody little like how to ride a bike, and you're just like, no, that's not right. I'm not communicating the right things.
Being able to communicate a concept is a completely different skill from being able to do it.
Yeah.
No, but I think you did a good job in terms of, at least if we've got the right definition of spinning across the top. So Cornwall Crafter is saying, Jill will hop on Discord one day and I'll show you. I've heard it from Rachel Smith and Woolen Spinning on YouTube.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
So the idea of making sure that as you have your top, you're spinning from the entire tip of the supply rather than just driving down.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the concept, if that's the idea, if that's the right terminology, then I think you described it well.
It's just there's obviously multiple different techniques that will accomplish the same goal.
Putting twist into fluff.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
And it's part of why I love watching other people spin or taking classes from other people. I always pick up something new because nobody does it exactly the way that I like have figured it out. But that doesn't mean that there aren't, like, I have definitely become a better spinner from watching what other people do and having other people explain what they do.
Well, since you absolutely smoked me today, maybe you can go and grab my, just the mitt from...
It's over there?
Yeah, it should be on the couch, unless the kids have kicked it onto the floor or something. And I will entertain people with my spinning in the meantime. And by the way, Eve says it made sense to her, and they'll try that. So, for those of you that were not on yesterday, this fingerless mitt is the project which is older than some of my children. That is also the manliest knitting project in the world. So, thank you. I just needed the mitt.
I'm going to go get myself some cake.
Some cake? Like food cake?
Like fiber cake.
Oh, okay. So this is my demon wool bracer with gilded with blood-soaked steel, or Jacob sheep with fallberry mitts pattern. But you can see there's a little bit of a scaliness pattern to it. I'm actually gonna be really interested to see how when I do the next one how it shows up. But I don't know if it'll show up well on video. But the stainless steel wool is super fine. You can see it on the cone here. I actually have it running both cones. The way that I'm able to run it together is I've got the smaller cone of the stainless steel wool inside the bigger cone of the Jacob sheep, and they both come off the top as I'm knitting, so it works out really well. I realized I just broke the stainless steel wool. Oh no. All right. I'll be able to fix it. Oh, okay. You're not getting cake. You're getting crisps.
No, this
Or,
is cake.
Oh, that cake.
It's confetti cake
Yes.
and Black Forest Gâteau.
Not like a cake of yarn.
Cake.
No, it's fiber cake.
This is fiber cake.
Not yarn cake. Cornwall Crafter is asking if I crochet. Kind of. I have just recently learned hybrid crochet, most commonly known as Tunisian crochet, although I've also learned that it is not actually Tunisian. I had difficulty understanding the stitches for the longest time in crochet and figuring out where to go into one versus another. And so I haven't even finished a full project yet in my hybrid crochet, but I'm starting to learn. Why do you ask? Jill, you know I'm terrible with names. What was the name of the teacher that I learned the hybrid crochet from?
Kira Delani?
Kira Delani.
Delaney?
Delaney? And it was Kira. Kira sounds right for the first name. And she was an absolutely fantastic teacher because I had watched videos and looked at books, and I'd never really gotten the anatomy of a crochet stitch until until I had the class from Kira, and she was absolutely amazing, and I really appreciated the class. So I have so many other little projects in the works that I have not yet finished that first project, but oh my god, Jill, you're going to knock over the camera. Be careful. And Eve says there is a really cool dragon scales crochet mitt pattern. Absolutely, send it my way. I would love to see it because there's more that I need to. I mean, I've done the manliest knitting project. I definitely need the manliest crochet project too. So I'll have to figure out if there's some other way for me to spice that up. I don't think I have carbon fiber crochet hooks.
No, you don't.
I mean, I don't even think that's a thing. I have to figure out what could be, in lieu of carbon fiber crochet hooks, what would be a more manly version. Bone? Bone.
There are crochet.
There are bone crochet hooks. That would be pretty beastly. So, Jill, what do you have there?
Fluff.
Okay, I was setting you up for something
Yeah,
a little bit more than that.
I know, but I want to actually have people be able to see it.
Do you see how the thing is growing, by the way? Like, this is how the packages arrive. So this is a world premiere.
Of Black Forest Gâteau. So cherry red.
And No Flies says that they have their grandmother's bone hook. So, yeah, definitely a thing. All right, so cherry red. I did not imagine cherry red for such a chocolatey concept. Is that basically a fancy way of saying...
It has a lot of brown in it.
Well,
like,
no, it
I
does.
promise you, it's just...
It does, but is a Black Forest Gâteau basically a fancy way of saying a red velvet cake?
Kind of. It's not as bright red as red velvet cake. I'm actually a little surprised that this turned out like so red, given how much not red is in it.
Well, it's
But it's the first time, and there's always surprises.
And Diane doesn't think you should be surprised by the fact that that looks right up their alley.
It is going to be a really great red. Like, I love deep dark reds because I'm not a huge red fan, and I like that one.
Granny Vicky says that is gorgeous. And Colonel Crafter says that's my favorite thing, watching fiber poof. Well, here you go. Here's another one.
So this is confetti cake. So I had to change up the sari silk in the confetti cake, and I like this version better. This is pink and sparkly and fabulous, and I'm not a pink and sparkly fabulous person. But this makes me think of Enid from Wednesday.
And here we go. There's the poof. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is totally an Enid color.
So this is superwash merino with trilobal nylon and sari silk. So you could make sparkly tweedy socks with this.
Really?
I love it.
So Diane said, I want to spring a big project in that. What's the blend? But I think you just said that.
I believe the Black Forest Gâteau is a merino. It's the same kind of fiber blend as the Mythology collection. So I think it's a 50% merino, 25% Shetland, 12.5% Tussa, 12.5% sari.
When you say it that way, I'm always confused because I'm like, what are you apologizing for?
What?
20% sorry.
Oh. Not Canadian. Yeah, so that's what I'm pretty sure that's what the Black Forest Gâteau is. Because I really love that blend of fibers.
Um, Diane said pink and sparkly, sold.
Yeah, that's a pretty fabulous pink and sparkly.
Also, Cornwall Crafter said, is Wednesday worth watching?
You just finished it, so, and I just finished watching it for the second time, so.
My opinion, I mean, obviously everybody likes different things. If you liked the Sabrina show on Netflix, but then thought in like season 3 or 4 it sort of went sideways and you didn't like it, then it's good. It's Sabrina with the Addams Family skin on it. If you like the Addams Family and you're looking for that, it's completely not. So think of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with an Addams Family skin, but done more modern.
Yeah.
It is very bloody, but not in like a horror bloody, more like a...
It's supernatural mystery.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite, but I'm glad I watched it. But I'm not...
You're not the target audience.
I'm not going to be sad if they don't have another season, but I would watch another season
But
if that
there's
makes
gonna be more
sense.
seasons.
Yeah. No, it was super popular, and
Yeah.
and our eldest loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to make sure that I was sitting there that they were sitting there while I watched the final episode.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you how they wanted to see my reactions. So I failed again at finding a good dad joke. But as you know, in high school, I was really into the Monkees, right?
Yeah.
And like I had a bunch of friends that we would go around and for those of you that aren't familiar, the Monkees were like the knockoff Beatles, but they had a TV show and it was totally like it was just a ridiculous show, and they had a bunch of popular songs, but the I would tell people that I was really into the Monkees, and we had our group of friends that were called the Monkees, and then I had a girlfriend who really didn't like that, and I didn't really believe it until I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. For those of you that didn't get it, that's just one of their songs. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Okay. Yeah, that was really bad. I'm so sorry. Yes, as Cornwall
Please spend
Crafter...
more time finding a better dad joke.
Yeah, I
tomorrow.
know. We were busy today. It's not like the dad jokes are actually good. I mean, all of them result in you with the eye roll. So this is just a different type of eye roll. It rolled in a different direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do better.
I apologize to you and our audience. I will do better tomorrow.
Okay.
I at least tried to give a good build up to that one.
Yes, you did, but you can do better.
I can do better. Thank you very much for sticking around. Sorry, looking at the comment. Amy says Mike Nemeth's mom invented Sight Out. I'm not sure I could parse that.
I think Mike Nesmith's is one of the Monkees.
Oh, really? You could tell he didn't like them that much. I just watch the show sometimes. So, and Eve says, bad puns are how I roll.
A whiteout.
Whiteout?
The eraser,
oh, whiteout instead of side out. See, autocorrect fails us again.
Yes.
All right. We're just going into reading comments now. But I like the bad puns are how I roll.
Yeah. Done.
Okay. Have a good night. Thanks for saving me, Eve. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
I'm so happy.